see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Thursday, January 11th, 2024, and this is episode 609 of the Lots Project podcast, where we're defining norms and designing freedom. Today's episode is titled Maintenance Time, and I'll be talking about a little bit chainsaw maintenance yesterday, the saw, the chain, the fuel I use currently, why this maintenance day was so important and a big mistake I made. And then I'll also touch on my first day with the Daily Stoic and what I got going on today and a little bit of the weather coming up. So it should be a fun morning. First, let's grab a cup of coffee, see who's in the live chat, see what's going on, and we will roll into the topics as we get going. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How we doing? Pip in early. Righty tighty, and I just let him know that except in the cases of those reverse threads, man, yeah, it was fun. Good morning, Rachel, Rewilder Life. Thanks for stopping in. Hunter holding down the fort over on Twitch. K-Bonk, good morning. Thanks for swinging in, and appreciate you being here. Oh, good morning, Jim. Good morning, Jim. How we doing? And Jack Daniel Toredo, what's going on, man? Thanks for stopping. How's it over in the Philippines? Differential threads. Oh, man. Yeah, it was definitely a needed maintenance day. And I'll kind of go into that, the reasoning behind it, and what I actually did, what I actually got done with it. But first, what is in the cup today? Finished up that bag of silver bullet blend yesterday, or should I say I almost finished it up. I posted in the group yesterday that I made a second French press yesterday morning, and it was a variety press, I guess is a way to put it. But basically, when I make my coffee, I weigh my beans, and I try to hit 49 grams for my French press. I usually get anywhere from 49 to 51, 48 to 51-ish, somewhere in there. Close enough. Anyway, when I get down to the end of the bag, I can kind of tell if there's still 49 grams in there. If it's significantly less, like half, or, if it's less than 45 in there, I'll just save it. I roll it over, I seal it up as much as I can, and I save it for, a couple weeks till I get a couple of bags with less than 49 in them. And then I take them and I make a big old post blend, basically my own blends of the coffees I have all left over. So yesterday was a very interesting blend. I had some of the C4 club member Christmas special dark blend. Not a big fan of dark blend, and it is what it is. It's everybody's kind of personal preference with coffee when it comes there. If you like light or dark, I prefer light. It's just what I like. But I did give the dark a try. I always told I will always try whatever Brian sends, just because I like to give him the feedback when he's looking for it. And so I tried it, and they were mini single packs, and I had mixed it with, or I made a small sampling, and then I mixed it with some stuff, and I had like a half of a little single serve left. His single serve's a little bigger than what I need. And so I had 12 grams of it left in the bag. And so I had 20 grams of the silver bullet left that I was finishing off yesterday. I had a little bit of the Christmas dark, and then I had a little bit of Hector left. A little bit of Hector, the light Colombian, was still hanging out in the bottom of the bag. And so I blended them all together. Three bean blend. Had that second French press yesterday, and it was really good. It was definitely different. And it was a little dark still for my preference, but definitely had some layers there for sure. It was nice to sit back and enjoy it. And I drink my coffee with the show in the morning 5 days a week, and then I really like to have that second press and enjoy it, stopping and taking a couple minutes while I'm doing other things to really taste the coffee. And when I do those post blends like that, it's fun. I get my coffee tasty, my relaxing coffee on the mornings, on the weekend mornings too. So it is what it is. But breakfast blend this morning. That's the new blend from Food Forest Farms that developed out of Thanksgiving banter back and forth on what he wanted, what he was going to send out for Thanksgiving when the C4 Club membership was being shipped out in November. He wanted to include something for Thanksgiving, and a couple different club members in him. Excuse me. A couple different club members kind of threw a bunch of different suggestions, and breakfast blend was born. So that was cool. That was a special first time on the November order. Had it on Thanksgiving, and then it was a big success. So we rolled it into a breakfast blend, and it's great. It's great. He did some different things with it, and it turned out fantastic. So you want some Food Forest Farms coffee, head on over to the website, foodforestfarms.com. You can use discount code LOTS5 for 5% off anything there. And that's including, he's really started ramping up his hip camp. His hip don't do it hanging laundry. Good morning, by the way. Thanks for stopping in. If you are in the Pacific Northwest and you really want like to camp, if you like to get out and enjoy the outdoors, Brian from Food Forest Farms has a hip camp set up out on Key Peninsula in Washington, there outside of Seattle, Tacoma area. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic little camp. He's doing a ton of work. He's going to make it great. He's going to host events there. He's got budding disc golf course, and just a ton of activities to do in the local area. So if you're looking for someplace to camp, you're looking for a place to stay in Federal Way, Washington, he's got an Airbnb there. Everything they offer, if you mention the show, if you mention Lots 5, you mention Lots 10, you send a message when you want to order something and put it in the comments that you listen to the show or you heard him on there, he'll take care of you. He will. I promise. All right. Good morning, Hanging Laundry. Like I said, good morning, Canadian Farmstead. Hanging Laundry says she saw a female St. Bernard up for adoption on Craigslist, and I said, do not do it. How old? Interesting. Good morning, Canadian Farmstead. He's brewing a lovely batch of Maxwell House. Did you at least put some cinnamon and nutmeg on it? Jim says that that's a new custom blend. It's called the bottom of the bag blend. I like it. Hey Norton, if you're listening, bottom of the bag blend. Yeah, get that out. Anyway, yeah, this breakfast blend is fantastic this morning. I forget, it's been, all of since Thanksgiving when I had it, and I've had a few pounds of it here and there. I actually requested more of it yesterday when Brian was getting my monthly order. I definitely put that on the list because it is fantastic. Canadian Farmstead was thinking of putting a cinnamon stick in the mug. All right, here's what you do. If you have to drink Folgers, if you have to drink Maxwell House, put your grinds in your coffee maker, and I hope you're just using a drip brew if you're using Maxwell House. Put your grinds in the basket in the filter, and then take and sprinkle the cinnamon across the top of the grinds, and sprinkle the nutmeg on top of the cinnamon, and use probably like 2 to 3 to 1, maybe 3 to 1, 2 to 1 of cinnamon to nutmeg. and then brew it with the hot water through the cinnamon and the nutmeg, and it'll be great. It'll be great. Jim says B.O.B. It's Bob blend. Bottom of the bag blend. Bottom of the bag blend. Good morning, Loco. Philippine Nomad. Mike the Philippine Nomad swinging in. I got two live viewers from the Philippines right now. I think that's fantastic. We're shooting this thing all around the world and getting interaction from all over the world. So this is great. This is great. Rewiler Life's gonna need some caffeine today. Is that because of the chat this morning, or is that because you got some crazy stuff going on? Anyway, let's move on from that little bit of a coffee chat and get on to the chainsaw maintenance. Hey Pip, stopping in. Good morning to you. Happy Friday Eve. Also, SEC did approve Bitcoin. No pump fake, no backsies or nothing. They just approved it. And I saw that we're up 20 to 47 this morning, hitting 47,000. Yeah, slow roll it. I don't need any huge pump from the SEC thing. I was just I was curious if they were finally going to say, yeah, this thing might be something. And that's basically what they were when they were approving the ETF. Was that they were acknowledging that Bitcoin has legs. I think. Other than that, I don't know. Oh, Rewilder Life says she's got 3 houses to do today. Good morning, Clark. How we doing? All right. Rachel says electric chainsaws. She wants a mini one, and she already has a pole saw. Oh yeah. I've been thinking a lot about electric chainsaws, gas powered chainsaws, and definitely yesterday when I was doing my maintenance on my saw, I think if I was buying one today, I think more than 80% sure I would go electric for what I need. Especially listening to people and seeing reviews and talking to people that use them, I think I would go electric, but it's not what I have, and I'm not going to throw away my $500 saw or my $400 saw that works perfectly fine to get an electric, and I don't need to. So I'm kind of in that situation with I'm just gonna run what I brung, and that. So let me catch up on these comments real quick. And Pip says, hi, I pulled an old electric chainsaw out that I didn't even knew I had for cutting up firewood. Nice. Hunter says he likes his 8-inch 18-volt. Hubby has 2 big ones for doing wood. I just want a mini one for my food forest, etc. Have you considered using a Sawzall, Rachel, with a pruning blade? If you have one already, like an electric Sawzall, cordless. Jim says on the SEC approval says if you can't beat them, join them and try to control it. Sign the government. Yeah. Anyway, I had to do some saw maintenance yesterday in preparation. So I had a realization. And it was a hard thing to let myself accept, because I try to really understand. Wow. I try to understand my linchpin items. So the things that I can't go without, the things that if they break, I'm fucked. And those are the things I really focus on. Chainsaw was never really one of those. When we were on the farm, I had it. I used it often. I'm not saying I didn't use it very often. I But it was for major jobs. It was for clearing deadfall, clearing trails. If a tree came down, if there was a storm, just random things like that. And I would use it for more extended period of time. Like grab it, it would be like a half a day job or a day job, or we would be planning to go cut some shit in the woods. So it was basically the saw was ready to go. I would grab it, I would take it, we would use it, we'd get back, and anything that needed to be cleaned or sharpened or whatever would be done then. And then it would sit for a while. Take it out, look it over, fill up the gas, fill up the bar oil, and away we go, round two. But it was pretty infrequent, once a month, once every other month, an emergency, but it always worked. And so that was kind of the pattern. When we left, I wanted to bring the saw because K-Bong says using shit is important. Idle engines are a pain in the ass. Yeah, I used it enough for sure. But when we went on the road, I brought it. Obviously, I didn't want to be somewhere where a tree fell down. I couldn't get out if I had the ability to bring my own saw, and I could just cut my way out. And then we also heat with wood. And initially, I didn't use the saw for our firewood. Last year in Texas, we didn't have to use the stove too much. The temperatures didn't get too bad. So basically, I was buying bundles of firewood from the gas station and using a Sawzall to lop them down to short, because I need to make them 6 inches or like 7.5 inches or shorter to fit in our stove. So you get your bundle of firewood. It's 14 inches, 16 inches. I'd have to cut it into threes and then bring it in. So that was kind of the MO. I never really got the saw all last year. This year I had it out. We started working on Tim's property, grabbing the chainsaw, kind of using it here and there on Tim's property. And then I had Hunter, I do have a link to my stove. I'm gonna have to dig it up though. I will send it to you in the Telegram chat after the show. I'll mark it down here so I don't forget. But I started using the saw out at Tim's, and so I had it out and accessible. And when it came time to start running the stove, when we started running the stove pretty consistently at night, we started going through a lot of firewood. When I sourced firewood from Tim's and then from Jamie at Off Grid Ping, I realized that I could use the chainsaw to lop it down to size. So basically, I was grabbing wood that had been cut to normal wood stove size and then making it smaller with the chainsaw and then splitting it up even further. So that's been what I've been doing for a while. Well, this is completely different than what I was doing on the farm. I'm using it every day, every other day, usually every other day. I got enough room to kind of stack up enough for 2 days worth if it's kind of cold, a day if it's really cold. And with the weather we got coming up, I'm gonna just pile up a lot just to have it ready to go. But I'm running the saw every day, every other day. I'm running it in the not the best wood. It's a lot of dry stuff, but it's a lot of stuff that sits out in the rain. So the bark and the outer layers kind of mush. I got into some stuff out at Tim's. There was a lot of rotted deadfall. So if you ever cut wood like that, it really builds up in the engine of the saw, on the body of the saw, in the bar, in the everything. It just gets all gummed up. Well, I wasn't used to that. And I was taking the saw and I was using it for 10 minutes. Zip, 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 like nobody's, it was quick. So I didn't get down to the end and be like, oh man, I just did a day's worth of cutting with a saw. I really need to clean it up and adjust things and make sure it's good. Well, the other day I was cutting and I threw the chain. Good morning, Backwoods Butcher. How we doing? Um, I I I threw the chain and I was like, okay. And so I threw it back on. It was not a big deal. It's an easy saw to change the chain. I threw the chain back on. I went to tension it up, and I was bottomed out on my tensioner, and my chain was still loose. And I was like, holy shit! Not loose enough to fall off right away, like loose enough to or tight enough that was able to get done when I needed to get done. But I was bottomed out on my chain tensioner, and so I went out to Jamie's. Was going out to Jamie's the next day, and he's really awesome with a chainsaw. He's got an electric sharpener. I said, hey, dude, do you mind sharpening up my chain real quick? Take a couple minutes on the electric sharpener, I suppose. And he did. He sharpened it up. We went to put it back on, and man, that chain stretched to shit. It's a pre-stretched chain. I buy the Husqvarna brand chains. They're pre-stretched. I've loved them ever since I got the saw. But it stretched out, and so I knew something was wrong. I was going through bar oil. I was going through bar oil, so I knew that I was using it. But I think it was all clogged up. I was thinking it was all clogged up. I heated that chain up enough that it stretched it out enough. And it's old. It's an older chain, so it's not. It doesn't bother me that much, but there was still a lot of life left into it, and now it's kind of stretched out to where it's not salvageable. I got spares, but I realized something was wrong, so I dug in. Yesterday was the time. It had to be. We got cold weather coming up, and I realized that, man, my saw now is one of my one of my linchpins in my systems here. If I don't have my saw to knock down my wood to a size that I can get it in the stove, I'm pretty fucked. I can get it done. I have the cordless Sawzall, but that sucks. when I transitioned from doing that to using the chainsaw, it was night and day. And I don't want to go back to using the Sawzall. That was just stupid. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. Anyway, so I realized that the saw was very, very important. Very, 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 very important. So I thought I should have a maintenance day with cold weather coming up. I don't want to be going out without wood, and I don't want to be cutting the amount of wood I'm going to need at the beginning of next week with the Sawzall. K-Bong says, what's the chunk size? I got to be under 7.5 inches long, and then, that big. What is that, like 3x3 split down to like 3x3 ish works. So Clark says, depending on how large the wood, it may be a circular saw would be better than a Sawzall. Yeah, that would be awesome if I had one. If I had one with me. A circular saw did not make the cut to throw in the travel into the truck, so it would be a good idea. I've thought about all sorts of different things, but anyway, the saw works great. The chainsaw works great. I just need to take care of it better. So I realized that kind of the wet wood, the bark, the shitty cutting conditions, everything. I needed to clean out the saw, and I kind of realized that it was because because it was all gummed up. I don't think it was spraying bar oil well. Anyway, so I took it all apart yesterday. I broke it all down. I took it all apart. I inspected the sprocket. Sprocket's getting a little worn. It's not the worst condition. It looks pretty good. it wasn't the sprocket. That was the two things that I was going back and forth. That my sprocket on my chain was worn down enough that the chain wouldn't tighten up because it was seating into the sprocket, or the chain had stretched and I was just bottomed out on my tensioner. Well, it was the chain had stretched. So I took it all apart, cleaned it all up. I made a TikTok yesterday, or a short on YouTube. I was just going to town with the brake clean, giving the saw a bath, really cleaning it up nice. And I realized that I got in that habit when employers were buying my brake clean. And now that I have to go back to the store and replenish my can, that maybe I should have scraped it clean and then just finished off cleaning it with the brake clean. Old habits die hard, I guess. But I got it all cleaned up. I adjusted the oiler. It looked like the oiler was set back for summer cutting, thinner bar oil. I needed to open it up a little bit because it is cold here, and I've been using this thicker bar oil. So I think it was coming out slower. I think that was part of my problem. And it was definitely gummed up. So I got everything all cleaned up nice. I ended up doing a review video for the saw for Amazon associates or Amazon influencers, and I'm also going to put it up on YouTube. Have a good day, Clark. Thanks for swinging in. I appreciate it. And so it's in good shape. I had a couple old chains. I had one that was sharp enough to get through yesterday, and I'm going to take a couple chains out to Jamie's today, have him zip them up, and I should be back in pretty top-notch shape. But yeah, basically broke the saw down, took all the covers off, cleaned out the air intakes, cleaned out the oiler, adjusted the oiler, inspected the sprocket, and then put everything back together. Cleaned up the bar really well, cleaned out the oil channel in the bar. It was definitely in need of a good cleaning. So I got that done, and it was the perfect opportunity to record a little video about that. The saw I've had for 7, 8 years now. I think I got a memory. It was 7 years ago that I got that in my ice auger. I run a Husqvarna 455 Rancher with a 20-inch bar on it. That has been my saw on the farm. It has been my saw on the road. I love the thing. It is, it's a workhorse. It's big enough that I think that if there was a tree big enough that I couldn't use my saw, that particular saw, that I probably should be calling a professional to do it. I really got to that point that I got to the point where, man, that's a 40-inch, 38-inch tree, diameter tree that you can get into without dicking around and like taking chunks out of it. That's a 38-inch diameter tree that you can get into and drop down. That's a significant size tree. I think anything bigger, and I would need somebody doing it. I know that's stretching the limit on it, but I wasn't cutting 38-inch trees down ever. So the saw was about the perfect size. It's small, it's lightweight, it's balanced really nice. I can handle it for a significant amount of the day. I think that even someone smaller and a little less robust than myself could handle it for a significant part of the day. It's got a compression release function, which is really cool. When you go to start it, basically there's a button you push on the top and it releases the compression, so it's easier to start. Basically, you hit the primer half a dozen times if it hasn't run in a while, and you got 3 pulls and the thing just rips off. It's fantastic. I've never really had a tough time starting it, as long as I'm paying attention to the choke, making sure that the kill switch isn't on, things like that. That is when I've had the problems with it getting started, is when I've made a mistake. I've also been in the position, where I've had saws that won't start when it's hot. This one will rip off, no problem. Hot, cold. I love the saw. So Rancher, the 455 Rancher with 20-inch bar, I really like it. I've gone to the premixed fuel from Husqvarna, kind of expensive, totally worth it in my opinion, in my situation. I don't have to carry another gas can for mixed gas. I don't have to carry two-stroke oil with me. I don't have to source clean ethanol-free gas. And this stuff is pretty potent. I love the way the saw runs through it. I love the way it just sounds like it runs clean. It sounds like it's running better and a little more oomph to it. And as I look at the fuel, it is a little higher octane and a little cleaner fuel, and it burns really nice. It burns clean. I've been very happy with it, and I think I'll be buying more. I tested it out with one of the small bottles, and then I went with the gallon can. Yeah, I think the price. I'm to a point in my life where the price versus the the price versus the convenience and the extra storage and the hassle at this point works for me. Now, if I stop somewhere and I had the place to store the extra cans and I want to dick around with that, it's definitely cheaper to go with mixing your own fuel. But this works. It works. And the cans are great. I really like them. So I'm going to continue to do work with that. One of the really cool features about the saw, and I mentioned that I was going through bar oil, but I didn't think it wasn't getting to the chain. I think it was sopping up in the built up mush from cutting some crappy wood. So the saw is set up, and it was one of the features I really liked when I bought it, was that the saw is set up, and they might all be this way, but Husqvarna kind of like put it out there as a key feature of the saw. So I'm not sure. The bar oil holding tank and metering system is set up that even when you have it on full open, so there's 3 settings for your bar oil depending on how long your chain is and the temperature outside. If you have it all the way to the highest setting, so the bar oil is coming out as fast as it can, and you fill the bar oil and you fill the fuel at the same time, you can't run out of bar oil by the time the fuel's gone. So as long as you top your bar oil off, every time you top your fuel off, you should never run out. I was never running out of bar oil. I was using it, and I was using it at the appropriate rate that it should have been coming out. It just wasn't getting to the bar, and I think I burned that chain up. So my bad. That was a big mistake, but it is a lesson you learn real quick. At least I didn't damage the bar. I didn't damage the saw, and all I have to do is go back to some of my older chains that I had that I put in the backup. So 2 is 1 is none, and I had 3, so I guess that's good for now, and I'll pick up 1 when I can along the way when Husqvarna stuff's on sale at Tractor Supply or on the internet. So that was saw maintenance day. Got it all back together. She's kicking along. I'm excited. Gingerbread says Echo bar oil and fuel seem to go at the same rate also. Yeah, I mean, it is. I wouldn't think that any company should do anything less than that. They're doing a disservice to their customer if you can't run the thing out of fuel before the bar oil's gone. That's just stupid. That's stupid for sure. Anyway, saw is all ready. Why did I have to get the saw ready? Is we have some crazy weather coming. The we got some cold weather coming, guys. It's weird because today it is supposed to be 60 and sunny with a low in the 50s overnight. Gingerbread said get a steel chainsaw. I just do a hand saw. I have a hand sharpener with I have a Husqvarna hand sharpener that came in the package with the saw. It works well. It works really well. And then I find people like Jamie and that have the electric sharpener every so often. I'll have him drag it through there and really sharpen it up because that thing does an awesome job. I have to find out what kind he picked up for his electric sharpener. But my hand sharpener works just fine. I can get that chain real sharp without taking it off the saw, and that's the best part. So I don't mind doing it by hand as much as I use it. So, but it's supposed to be 60 today, 60 and sunny, and then 50 overnight, which is crazy. It's been in the 30s and high 20s for a while. 50 overnight is going to feel like, man, I'm going to probably be sweating. Tomorrow it's supposed to be another high in the 60s with rain. And then it's going to start going down. It's going to start dropping over the weekend. Highs above freezing, lows down in the low 30s, high 20s. When we get to Sunday, it was looking really nasty. It was looking really nasty yesterday when I looked. Like overnight lows in the negative single digits, highs above freezing, and I that's not fun for us. I don't mind it getting cold overnight and then coming up above freezing into the 40s, into the 30s during the day. When you don't come above freezing, that's when we start running into problems. More than one day below freezing, we got to start worrying about our tanks freezing, things like that. The forecast is looking right now, the lows are coming up the closer it gets. Now we're into the upper single digits for lows for a couple nights in a row. But it really looks like once it goes below freezing on Sunday night, we're going to have 3 solid days where we're not going to get above 32. We're going to get down into the single digits and then hover into the 20s, high teens and 20s for 3 days up into just right around freezing. So it, gingerbread, that's exactly what mine is. That's exactly the hand sharpener mine has. He says it has a hand sharpener has 3 files and sharpens teeth and sweepers at the same time. Yeah, that's what I got. I like it. I really like it. So 3 days. So that's going to take a lot of firewood. That is definitely going to take a lot of fire. We're going to be feeding that fire quite a bit all day, all night. We'll probably end up having to take some shifts. Corey and I'll have to figure out a schedule, and I might not be getting a lot of sleep because her job actually pays us. So it I'll probably try to take some shifts, more shifts in the evening and the overnight, keeping the fire stoked, because one thing with that small stove, we don't get a whole lot of burn time to where you can get a lot of sleep. So might be a tiring couple days, but we'll end up draining our tanks. I think we'll end up draining our fresh and our gray water tank. Just having it empty. We'll run out of jerry cans for a few days. We did it in Texas. Probably a little premature in Texas because we hadn't gone through a cold snap in the trailer. I think we're at temperatures right around where we were in Texas last year. And it's it'll be all right. I actually feel like we're more prepared than a lot of the people around here. I hear the locals talking about the cold snap and all the problems they have, and I'm like, it sounds like this happens every year or every other year, at least once, where you get these cold snaps, and then people are just amazed that their pipes break or that they have trouble and this and that. And I'm like, man, if this is like happening all the time, how are you not preparing for it now? Like, I'm looking at it today, and I've laid out my days on today. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I started prepping yesterday, so 5 days ahead of the cold weather. I'm already in go mode, and I'm thinking I have 5 days, and I got like a day and a half worth of shit to do, which is great. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's going to be funny or sad to watch the people running around on Sunday night, on Monday when the cold is like crazy, and having problems. I'm half tempted to go buy a bunch of plumbing stuff and just have it on hand and just go to town come Wednesday, Thursday when the weather breaks and all these people have busted pipes. I mm, I mean, I think you can charge what you want when when the people ain't got no water. I don't know. I don't know. So that is that. That is that. Backwoods Butcher says worse when it snows, everybody forgets how to drive. Well, yeah, that was a hot tip for you guys that live in the snow areas. Hot tip for you guys that live in the snow areas. Don't go to work on the first snow of the year. K-Monk says I remind people about the fact that running water will not freeze. Yeah, I call bullshit on that. I've had plenty of running water freeze in Minnesota. Gingerbread said shark bikes fits everything. Yep. I do know that for sure. And oh god. Oh man. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. This will be the coldest. I think this will be the coldest that we went through in the trailer. We are fully prepared to run the propane heater and the wood stove at the same time. I think. I don't think that'll hurt our draft. It should be forced air. It should work fine. Um, we also have the wood stove. Corey, we picked up a electric heater for her when she moved into the back of the camper because it's a little chillier back there. The stove doesn't push heat as well back there. At least my the front office here, the fan is blowing this way. The eco fan we use on the stove is blowing this direction. Corey's kind of like stuck back in the little cave back there that doesn't get a lot of heat. So we got her an electric heater. So with 3 sources of heat inside, I think we'll be fine. Plus, we don't mind bundling up, and as long as we keep it above, if we keep it above, 40 in here, I'll be happy. I'll be happy. I also heard from my friends that I met at SRF and Toolman Tim's Workday that live around the corner here. They are out of town and they got a hold of me and said, "Hey, we got a kerosene heater, turbo heater, tube heater in our garage over at the house. If you need it to throw under the camper, you're more than welcome to it." I'm not sure. I might go get it. I might go get it more for the fact of thawing things out after the fact if things happen. If things happen, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to get into. I want to see what happens. Basically, I want to see how we do without it. But it might not be bad to have it here because it'll be nice to have it here. So I'm not sure. Rewiler Life says we have 2 little buddy heaters and they're amazing. I almost went with the buddy heaters. I didn't want to mess with the more propane inside. I actually had a brainstorm the other day about a buddy heater and running a not a hard line, but a permanent hose off our propane supply for the trailer to where we could quick connect in a buddy heater inside. But then it would be pretty much set to where it was going to sit. And I haven't really figured out where that would go yet. And we don't have the buddy heater either. So, K-Monk was wondering if anybody uses a wicking oil cooking heater. Huh. I don't know. Sorry, guys. Reading the comments. Everybody seems to like the buddy heater. We might I was thinking about seeing about some tea lights with the terracotta pots That has always interested me. That's like a basically a mini mass heater, which seems pretty efficient. I just don't know if I want to spend the money. I have to actually buy some pots because Velveeta, our snake plant, Corey noticed that she was looking pretty sad, and after we got her home and did a little research, and she's root bound. They let her grow too big in her pot, so we're gonna have to like split her up. Maybe I should look at some terracotta pots. I just don't know if I want the terracotta in with the traveling, and they're just gonna break when we move. So I don't know. Something to think about. Something to think about. Jim says they make a buddy heater that fits a cup holder for the golf cart just this side of heaven. I don't even want to go down the road with Jim and his golf cart. Rachel says video if I do it. Yeah, of course. If I do something crazy like that. K-Box says T-Candles joke in my view. It is unless you need to throw one under your sink to keep your pipes from freezing. I think it puts off enough heat just like that. Just like putting an incandescent bulb with your chickens. You wouldn't think that it does much, but man, they do put up a little bit of heat. So maybe enough to save your ass. Pickle Pete, good morning. How are we doing? Swinging in later. Appreciate you swinging in. We talked about a new blend for you. We're going to call it the Bob blend, the bottom of the bag blend. I don't know if you actually have bottom of the bags there when you're doing your stuff. You're pretty good at making sure it's the right amount. So I don't know, bottom of the bag blend. K-Bonk says nowhere near a 40-watt heat source. Yeah, dude, I think it's more of an emergency situation thing or an add-on. I'm definitely not going to roll with tea candles and terracotta pots to try to heat my space, but maybe my little room up here could catch a little extra warmth. Or I think it's a more that the tea light candle heats the terracotta pot, and the terracotta pot radiates the heat after the fact. I think it's like a heat sink type of thing. I don't know. I've never tried it. It's never been one of those things where I needed that little bit of heat. Maybe a hand warmer. Rachel says, yeah, maybe a hand warmer. Maybe that pot, you just kind of hover your hands over it and yeah. Hand warmers. We do have hand warmers too. I got a pile of hand warmers out in the truck. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but we're set. We got sleeping bags, we got everything, and we got these dogs that they got a lot of fur. So Rewilder Life says she needs to pot up her snake plant too. Rachel, do you happen to know if snake plants are do they do well outside? Do they do well outside? Interesting. What else do I got on my list here? We got our chairs yesterday. That's cool. They are what they are. They're RV recliners. I'm 6'5". I don't expect many chairs unless I'm buying something that's absolutely enormous to be like my set for me, like built for me. They're smaller, but that's why we bought them. Rewilder Life says nothing lives outside here in the winter. Yeah, for sure. K-Bong says huge thermal mass student. Yeah, cool. Jim says they do well in Central Florida. Okay. So we got the chairs in the mail, delivered. FedEx came, no problems, delivering to our address with no box. That was a little bit of worry, a little stress that came off my head. Got them put together. They're comfortable. They're comfortable enough. I fell asleep in it last night for a little bit. So there's that. just because they're small. I've been dealing with stuff like that my whole life. Like I said, 6'5" and mid 200s. They don't make a whole lot of shit that fit me. So Corey liked hers. It looks like a definitely appropriate size for her. I don't know if her feet can touch the ground or not. Maybe yes, maybe no. Depends. No. she chimed in from the way back. No, her feet cannot touch the ground, and it's way short for me. So there you go. That is the problem when trying to buy furniture and things to share when one of you is 6'5" and one of you is 5'2". Backwoods Butcher says nothing is built for people our size. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's fine. Like I said, I fell asleep last night. It was fine. It's fine. It's comfortable. It's better than the plastic chair we had, and it will it's just as good as the office chair, is the gaming chair. The second gaming chair, at least. The first gaming chair, I don't know. The first ones that we bought were pretty good. Pip says from the back of the bus. Good morning, Corey. Corey, get in the back of the bus. You're back there with Hector the Light Colombian. Oh, God. But the chairs are good. They were a pain in the ass to put together. You would think that me saying it was pain in the ass to get put together, that I opened the box and there were like 17,000 pieces. Yeah, no, it was 2 bolts and 2 nuts and 2 plugs, like wood plugs. Yeah, basically two bolts through. There was a tab with a hole in it on the back, 2 tabs with a hole on it in the back, and then a channel, a little bracket on the base, and basically you flipped up the back and slid the bolts through and put the nuts on. Yeah, doing it by yourself, I don't know. I couldn't get the damn things to line up. I would flip it over and try to line them up, and it wouldn't line up because of the pressure. I would flip it back over on its base and try to get it to hold. And yeah, it was struggle bus for sure. I was trying to do an installation or assembly video for Amazon, and I don't think the F-bombs are going to pass their muster. So either some creative audio editing or things like that. It will pivot bolts. That's it. Yeah, pain in the ass. But once they were together, it is all good. It's all good. And I think anytime we're going to take them in and out of the camper, I'll probably end up having to pull those bolts and flop down the back. So it was what it is. It is what it is. Backwards Butcher says there is a certain size of car that I still can't really fit in. I've actually ridden in the back of a Volkswagen Beetle as an adult. Pip says I can see the soccer moms on Amazon. Oh my God, all those F words. God, it was just infuriating. Between the dogs huffing and puffing on me, I was sweating, like dripping sweat. And I said, Corey, why is it so hot in here? She's like, it's 58. I was just like, what? It was bad, but they're together. I'll end up having to do a review of these chairs and probably not assembly. Because if I talk to people about the assembly of these, no one would buy them, and I think that's the exact opposite of what I want to do on Associates. Pickle Pete says that we'd fit in a smart car. Oh, Pete, I sent you a Telegram message last night, just so you know, about some things, about some spring plans that might be coming through. So, which is cool. You might be a part of it too. So that's awesome. Yeah, I think we hit all that stuff. I just wanted to touch on before I wrapped up today. Yesterday was the first day with reading the Daily Stoic. Here we go. Got the book the other day in the mail, Tuesday. I waited till Wednesday. I like it. I like it. I think it's going to fit well into my day. I think it's going to do well for my brain. I think it's going to do well for my life in general. Just from reading the introduction and then reading the first day. Basically, it's dated all the days of the year. Gingerbread says I can read. Yeah. um, Basically, it has every day of the year. So seeing that it was only the 10th yesterday, I skipped the first 10 days. I did not read them. I went directly to the day that it was. And I'm going to go through the whole year. And that's the plan. I want to hit it every day. My MO with it is after the show or on weekends with my morning coffee. But after the show, after I get everything uploaded and dog walks and I can sit down and either I'm eating my breakfast or just taking time, I read it. So yesterday I sat down, I read the page. It's not a lot. It's maybe took like 3 minutes if I read it normally, like the way I would normally read things. And hey K-Bomb, you want a hand grinder or you want a power grinder? Ceramic burr is the way to go. Anyway, I was reading it, and I think it would take about 3 minutes to read if I read it at my normal, maybe less, at the normal time, the normal way I read things. Usually skim. I read very, very fast, and maybe not comprehend everything deeply. Starting to read this book and that page, I shifted. I started reading things more in depthly and paying attention to what it's actually saying. And I read it twice and I read it again. Basically, the way the book's set up is a quote or a passage from Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca. There's a few others sprinkled in. And then kind of a modern day explanation or, diving into it, what the passage above. So basically it's the original and then thoughts about it. And so I read it a bunch of times and I was kind of digesting it. And then I realized that, okay, I'm going to read this in the morning. I'm going to stop during the day and it only takes a couple minutes. And I went back to it and read it again midday and then again before bed. And I'll right. Backwoods asked me how often I think about the Roman Empire. Never. And so so 3 or 4 times yesterday I dug in to one page of a book. It's probably the first time I've ever done that. Probably the first time I've ever done it. And I want to continue to do it. It felt good. It felt good to actually really digest something instead of just reading it to fill my brain with information. To dig in and contemplate 4 words before I went on to the next 8 words. Things like that. It was refreshing. And I think I'm going to really enjoy the book. Yesterday's passage was about outside influence and how to stay steady and tranquil and excuse me, sorry. How to stay steady, stability to achieve stability, tranquility in your life. And it's not to retreat and be by yourself and be tranquil in the woods with no outside influence. It's basically taking your outside influence and using reason to adjust it. To adjust those outside influences and how you react to them to keep your life stable and tranquil. So it was interesting. Very, very interesting. So yeah, I'm excited. You should pick up the book and follow along. I'll be reading the day of. So today I'll be reading the 11th and talk about it probably a little bit on the show tomorrow. I don't think it's going to become an everyday thing where I dive into them. But if there's something really poignant, there's something that's really on point with what I need to talk about, or if I don't have another topic for something, I'm sure we can dive into any or all of the things in this book. So I'm excited. I am very, very, very excited to get into that. And we're in an hour, guys. I got to wrap this up. I got a busy day of prepping for the cold to come. I got to go out, grab more firewood, go see Jamie out at Off Grid Ping. If you haven't heard, Jamie is applying for the Homestead Apprentice, which is a program that John Willis is putting together at SOE. Basically going to be like the old show, The Apprentice, but homestead related. Sounds really cool. Sounds like it's a great opportunity. And Jamie is a really good candidate for it. So if you're listening to this, please go to YouTube, type in Off Grid Ping, Ping, find his channel, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, like his videos, find that Homestead Apprentice video, and be sure to like it and share it and spread the word about Jamie. I think he's be an awesome candidate. We just got to get him accepted, and I think he will do very well in the competition. So I am very, very, very excited for that. Go out, see him, get some change sharpened, grab some firewood. I got to empty the toilet today and do a little bit more maintenance on that vent hose. I didn't get it completely empty, and with the cold weather, I think it's inevitable that I'm going to have to put a drain in it. So I'm going to start brainstorming that. So looking good, guys. It should be a good day, and yeah, we'll wrap up. We'll get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. So if you guys would like to participate in the live comments, you can always join the Coffee Crew live recording Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Central at YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. If you enjoyed the show, please consider sharing it with others. You can find links to all my social media services I offer, recommended products, and companies I'm affiliated with at thelotsproject.com. Be sure to listen on one of your favorite podcast 2.0 value for value podcast players like Podverse or Fountain.fm. And I got Wave Lake all caught up yesterday. I was actually 4 episodes behind. Got them all up on Wave Lake. Check out Wave Lake if you like value for value and streaming sats and sending boosts and all of that. If you have not used Podverse or Fountain, guys, have a great day. Hit those likes and yeah, enjoy your Friday Eve. Catch you back here tomorrow.
I can see the light. I can feel the sun.